What's under the think bonnet?
Talk loud, talk proud. Highly toxic debate. Battery acid opinions.
A voice above the crowd.
Talk radio.
The home of common sense.
Let's speak with Dr. Bharat Pankahnia, Senior Clinical Lecturer, University of Exeter Medical School. Bharat, always good to have you on. We spoke just, I think, under a week ago on this point. So it's not compulsory. It's not even being actively encouraged. What's your initial response to that? And I don't know if Dr. Pankahnia can quite hear us. We might be on a mute-based issue there. I think we possibly got him back in action, and we'll get a response to that question. He might not have heard the initial question when I threw that out, in terms of whether or not... Is he back? I think he might be back.
So, Ian...
You can hear us now. We can hear you now, loud and clear. So your initial response, Bharat, to that non-urgent assessment from the JCVI?
Prevention is always better. Prevention is always better than risking an infection and then saying to yourself, I'll take my chance with this. So if you have a safe, predictable, and the key word is predictable, vaccine which will do something and protect you, it's much better to do that than to say, well, I'll take a gamble with getting infected and most children are okay, therefore I will be okay. But I have got a vaccine for you, which is a predictable dose, a controlled introduction to being immunized, and we know that they work and we know that they are safe. And, you know, to comment on your assertion that, well, you know, it's too much of an effort. It is not too much of an effort. We immunize our children all the time. And if we hadn't immunized our children, we would have a lot more illness. And therefore, as a personal measure, as a public health measure, immunizing and protecting our children is a good thing to do.
But it's a case-by-case thing, isn't it? So you look at something, I'm thinking of measles is an obvious thing. You don't want kids to get measles. That can be a very, very tricky illness for children to deal with. We look at COVID. There's never, ever been any evidence that particular age group is at risk very much, if at all, in most cases. Some exceptions to that, but they are very, very rare. And I always thought that in your world, in the world of medicine, that if something is a rarity, then you don't go around delivering medicine or vaccinations when there's hardly any chance of you getting ill from it.
No. Children have got ill. Children have missed school. Children have missed school a lot because they have got infected. Children have gone on to infect older people, and older people have gone on to get admitted to hospital. All of these parameters... Very
rare, though, right? Very rare. Tiny, tiny amounts of cases.
No. Look.
Yes.
Whilst a small percentage of children have been very ill, it is not true to say that the children have not gone on to generate cases, and those cases have ended up in hospital, and some of them have been very ill.
So they become a protective wall for others.
Perspective too.
So we use kids as a human shield almost.
Well, hold on a minute. I think those are emotive terms that you persistently use. I would like to point you to, we use the seasonal influenza vaccine personally for that very purpose, which is to immunize, protect them, and protect the community. There is nothing different here.
So when you give so just to clarify that, because I think many parents listening to this, Bharat, will say, well, actually, I'd never considered that was one of the reasons why I was giving my child a flu vaccine or any other vaccine for that matter, that it's about protecting wider society. There's an implicit almost responsibility on me then, in addition to trying to keep my kid healthy, to protect other people around. Even if my kid is perfectly healthy and statistically unlikely, almost impossible to end up in hospital, almost.
No. With respect to seasonal influenza, this is what I would do. I want my child not to have influenza, and I would like my child not to infect other people. It's as clear as that, and we've always done that. We've been doing it for many, many years.
But I don't think people consider a flu vaccine or any other vaccine in that capacity, do they?
Well, I think it's about time we were absolutely upfront and educated people about why we do what we do. But we've been doing this For a long time, we've been immunizing so that the person is protected and the community is also protected.
Okay,
We've done this for a long time.
Would it be fair, based on that then, to say that the main reason in the case of a healthy 8-year-old with no underlying conditions, the main reason to get them vaccinated would be not to protect them, but to protect other people?
No, not true, because there are a lot of unknowns with this virus.
But they're not going to end up in hospital statistically. They're not going to get ill statistically. So that leaves the main reason, your words, is to protect others.
Please, let me answer. The answer is as follows. We know what we know, and then there are unknowns. So out of the blue, a Omicron variant arose. Out of the blue, another variant can arise, which may cause suddenly severe illness in a different age group, i.e. the younger age group. We just don't know. But what we do know is that there is quite a lot of cross immunity and protection. And if I were in that situation where I don't know what's coming around the corner,
right,
but on the other hand, I do know that if I protect, there is a potential to have cross immunity and protection from a variant that may be causing severe disease.
So we are protecting against what might happen that hasn't yet happened, because there are known unknowns.
The considerations, absolutely.
So the main reasons then are what might happen and to protect other people, but not. So third down the list then would be the protection of the child.
But also the third thing I would say is this. If I had to choose between get immunity by infection or get immunity by immunization, I would always choose immunity by immunization, because it is controlled.
Even for an 8-year-old, Bharat? Even for an 8-year-old?
Yes, I would.
Who's not going to
We do that all the time, Ian. We do that. Yes, absolutely. This vaccine is not going to harm our children. On the other hand, this vaccine is going to protect them, and it's protecting them in a controlled manner.
On that point, Dr. Bharat Pankahnia, thank you, sir. Nice to have you with us. He is, of course, Senior Clinical Lecturer, University of Exeter Medical School. Did that convince you that if you were thinking this morning, not sure about the vaccine for my kid, but I've just heard Bharat Pankahnia, and now I'm definitely sold on the idea. Yeah. 0344 499 1000.